Hello and good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's Saturday, and as promised, we want to meet a few Saturdays again and again till obviously we have clarity as to how things work and how do we go about it. So, you've taken an initiative to clarify certain things for industry, certain things specifically for Indian implementations in privacy, and taking up that, here we are, right? And from our last webinar on the last week, which was 22nd, we did a webinar, and from that webinar, we will do the second part of that webinar today. If you've missed out the first part of that, it's also available on YouTube, but it's also we are also here. So I'll try to do some walkthrough of the last webinar, and then so that people who are joining in new can take up or can learn something really quickly. I'll also am trying to be live with you in the chat. So here I am, and in the chat section, uh, I'm going to put a quick comment for you, and let's have a conversation because this is where we can talk to each other, right? This is the chat section where we can have a conversation with each other. So I'm going to put a quick comment, and if you can also reply to this, it will be great. Yeah. So I'm joining you from Bangalore, and yeah, just going in India across now this month. Because I used to work. I was working in Amsterdam for a month, and post that, we am back here, back to my base, and back to India. I'm working around India now, going across and solving some problems of privacy. So I see that people are joining in. I see that a lot of people will join in as well in another 2 3 minutes. So we will start in another 3 minutes. But before that, I am joining from Bangalore. Where are you joining in from? If you can quickly write in the comment box, I think that's a good personal data to share, right? And by the way, what is the legal basis on which you're sharing this data to LinkedIn? Anyone? What is the legal basis for this common data that LinkedIn is going to have for some time? Yeah, hi Isha. Isha, where are you joining us from? Anil, what about you? Where are you joining us from? Hey Manav. Manav is from Gurugram. Okay. Okay. Bhopal. Okay. Bhopal is a nice city, right? I think last time, I don't remember where I went actually in Madhya Pradesh. It's a bit. I'll be honest with you. Like my friend, my very close friend, he got I Jabalpur. Yeah, somehow Deependra. I was about to say Jabalpur. Yeah. Hey Trisha. So Jabalpur is somewhere where I've been in Madhya Pradesh, but other cities. I'm by the way, I'm from Uttar Pradesh, right? So it's like I've gone across as I'm from Lucknow, so I like the Lucknow vibe, but I know it's a similar vibe in the cities around Bhopal, Indore. So I'm very avid liker of the cities. I'm very avid liker of the already things, right? So yeah. Uh, okay, so I see like 20 people have joined in. So I think probably we'll just go ahead and we'll get going because especially for the people who are joining in from the last time. And folks, if you're not If you're not there in the last workshop, so basically what we're doing is we're doing DPDPA series. So we are these 3 months, these coming 3 months, we will have a continuous conversation on some topic. Post this conversation, this video is going to be available on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, you can just go to Tsaaro Consulting on YouTube and just find out some of the videos. Obviously, right? Some things are just discussed, but the discussions I think probably will not be there. Just the communication in terms of what to do or what should be the guidance is something that will be there. Okay. So let's get going. I think everybody who's on the call, say a quick cheer, say a quick hi in the comment section, and there from there we'll take it up, right? So yeah. Right. So even before we start, a bit about Tsaaro Consulting. Tsaaro Consulting is one of the market leaders in privacy. What we do is we are consultants and we implement privacy and we operate privacy, right? So generally what we do on a higher level is we implement these consent tools in the market, and this is our fourth year, right? While we have been doing business, and being in our fourth year doing the business, we know what we have to do in terms of cookie consent, what tools to implement, what are the right prices for these tools, and how to implement. Being partners of OneTrust Security, Big ID, we are implementing them across the globe now. Having 5 offices right now, 4 in India, one in Amsterdam, 4 in India being Bangalore, Delhi, Pune, and Bombay. That's where our major work that we do. And yeah, and something is coming up in Noida as well. So, and we will talk about it in a few months. Okay. So even before we start, a quick disclaimer to all of you: this is not a legal advice. The discussion that I'm having with you is one-on-one, and I'm trying to give you reference and guidance while we are having this conversation. This does not make me the person to represent, or this is not what Tsaaro is saying, right? This is what, as a speaker, I'm representing myself while speaking to you guys. Yeah, this video is strictly for reference and educational purposes. My name is Akarsh Singh. I'm the founder here with Krishna. What I do is I've been in privacy for last 8 years. Took some certifications of CIPP, CIPM, uh, CDPOs of the world. Have been working last 3.5 years. I worked at a company, and then from there I kind of left, and a lot of us left, and we started Tsaaro, and that's where our journey started. And here we are, going neck to neck with all the great companies in the world. So that's a bit about me. What I have been doing, why I'm doing this consent series with you, is because I've been implementing consent around the industry since last 3 years. So I have some knowledge to share with you. So if you have questions around consent, please ask them in the comment box. And this comment box will be our conversation guidance. So anything that you want to ask me, even if out of consent, just drop it in the comment box. I'm going to take that up. May not be right now, but later or down the line, I'm going to take it up. So today we'll talk about the consent framework. We'll talk about the minor's consent. We'll talk about some best practices. We have had talked about it last time as well, but we couldn't because we were not able to finish everything last time. So we're continuing from last time. And then obviously a case study, right? That's the most important thing, like how to actually do it. So in the end of this session, we're going to look at a lot of examples on consent and cookie consent. So I'm going to go around industry leaders and going to show you what they have done, why they have done, and what is needed for us, right? Okay. One of the best examples being Airbnb, IKEA's, and the biggest companies in the world, whose consent framework also depends country to country. So we will probably see how they are doing it, and then maybe if you are a DPO, if you are a CISO, or if you're in line 1 or line 2, wherever you are, if you want to pick it up, why not, right? Maybe like we can have a conversation, right? Okay. So the key point, so there are like four major things under DPDP that you have to think about before you buy or before you tell your tech team to implement a tool, right? How are we giving the notice? How are we giving the option of withdrawal of consent? See, the moment you give, so there are two legal bases of processing under DPDP: consent as well as the legitimate interest. So if it's legitimate interest is fine, right? It's still you can contractually bond yourself or data transfer can happen on that. But the moment you give consent, you give the power to the customer to revoke consent. And that is what power, that is the power that the government gave us, right? That the Supreme Court gave us in 2019 of the right to deletion. And that right became the human right for us Indians in India, obviously, to get our to make sure that the organizations around us they respect our data points. So withdrawal of consent means if I take consent from someone, then it's my responsibility. It's I have to give him an option to revoke his consent, right? I don't have any other option. I have to give that. Okay, sure. So then the third part to it is the consent for children. Okay, one more part to this key thought process is if we are doing this, then we have to think about the consent is recorded. You know what I mean? I mean to say that the consent has to be recorded, it has to be documented, it has to be kept for documentation because this can be challenged later. So that is why they, for a certain period of time, right? And that is why people use tools or when they are building something on their own for their organization, they keep the audit logs. So it's very important to keep those audit logs because tomorrow, if let's say a supervisory authority or a case happens on you that somebody revoked their consent and still you did not give, the what they wanted. So it's very important that we are technically proven to show that consent is recorded. And if tomorrow something happens, then we can contest saying, okay, this is the portal, and the user came to the portal, or he came to the portal and did not revoke consent, or only revoke consent, let's say for in terms of cookies, only for let's say analytical cookies, but the other type of cookies he did not revoke consent. So and this is where we are headed, right? And this is where we're going to go because till now it was accept all, reject all, only necessary cookie settings. You know what I mean? So now it will be a more like, okay, if somebody has said yes or somebody has said no, and let's kind of agree that marketing teams and they still do not get, or the HR of the company they still do not get that this is something that can happen. Right? This is something that they have to respect for users. They're like, okay, we are in India, there's no law. So I think it's a huge change for not for privacy professionals, I would say, because we understand what has to be done, but the business, because the type of business that has happened till now to the type of business that will happen from now will have a huge difference, right? It cannot be the same thought process, it cannot be the same written documentation, or it cannot be the same way of deleting the data, or or just using the data and not doing anything about it. So it has to change. And how will it change? It will change uh, one by one, right? And consent being the primary in India, this is the first time the change will happen because till a customer starts revoking consent, and India has a huge educated customer base. Like it's not just privacy professionals. I know I was, and by the way, especially the millennials, and I have we have by the way a lot of millennials working with us, and they're amazing people. Also, we have been I know a lot of millennials around me, and when they come to me, and I always say for them, I'm not a privacy guy, I'm just a friend. They always talk about saying, "Hey, I'm using Apple because it has privacy." I'm like, "Do you even know how do you get privacy?" They're like, "No, I don't understand this, but I am using Apple because it has privacy. Because I am assured that the branding or the thought process that has come to them is that Apple has privacy." So Apple, and I don't know if this has happened with you, if this is something that somebody around you has said and bought Apple that it gives privacy. It's not, I won't say it's 100% true. I can't agree to that, right? That Apple provides. I think Android also provides privacy. The only thing is, like, to what level, right? Or what are you thinking, right? And what type of data processing is happening. So everybody can. So the thing is, how much rights can a platform give you? And definitely, Apple gives you more rights because it automatically takes out things that are not good, right? And when I say, like think about it, like Facebook recently, they did a case on Apple that they're not letting, they have implied the user that this type of data is going to process. So it's a huge market chunk for them that was taken out just by the consent. Right? If you remember, just by consent, just by giving the Apple gave people more privacy rights, and that's where you know, and that's where they became the way they came at the top because they were not allowing people to do ads. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know about the ad process. I don't know if you know about how ads run, right? Anyone in the chat box? How do the ads run? Like, how do you get an ad? When was the last time you got an ad and you were unhappy about it? Never. You were not. You wanted that ad, is it? Okay. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. So the ad gets, and I want to be honest with you, right? And I work with people, so, and again, it's not just about India. Okay, we're not here to say that Indian companies are not doing something, right? We're talking generally, globally. So when you're using ad softwares or marketing intelligence softwares, right, it goes to a level that they can see on the back end which phone you're using, what is the model number of your phone, what when did you come online, because the cookies that are there on website, and let's quickly talk about it. The cookies that are on website are of a nature, right? And when I say are of a nature, are of different types. Now one of the types is the third party cookies. The third party cookie means the cookie that is on the website but it's not our own, right? It's someone else's cookie, right? Okay, let me just show this to you. Okay, so can you see this website? We will take an example of IKEA, and they are one of the best in consent. So we will definitely try and see how they do it. Okay, okay, you cannot see it yet. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So if you see here on the website, we have, as we start, the one part of consent is accept all, only necessary and cookie settings, right? And how do they do that? And you can also check that. So if you want to check, um, let's put, I'm just looking for a file in this. Where is the source? Okay, I'm actually trying. I was actually trying to go a bit deeper and just tell you which tool they are using, right? Which tool they are using. I'm just trying to use that. Just trying to look at cookies, but we will anyways get to know that, I think. Okay, so when we get a website, like, so this is something that we're discussing. Like, if you are in India and you are DPO, like, what is the next step? So cookie settings, right? So basically, let's say accept all only necessary is something that users are getting, but how are we configuring it? Okay. So now if I go deep down, I want to first of all see the privacy and cookie statement, because if I am going to get anybody on my website, then first of all I need to understand, or I need to give a notice to people that okay, these are the types of cookies that I have. Okay, so 16 necessary. So 16 necessary is strictly necessary, right? So what strictly necessary means is like these are cookies that are needed to run the website, right? Like without them a website cannot be alive. That's the cookie thought process for a strictly necessary cookie. Right? Let's take an example of what are strictly necessary cookies here. So they're always active. They're not asking you for consent for strictly necessary cookies. Okay, let's see. So first party cookies and Vimeo, right? First party cookie means the cookie from the IKEA per se, right? The company that is here, their cookies. And Vimeo means the Vimeo cookies. Let's say whatever Vimeo plugin, so it's basically a third party cookie for them. So it's a third party cookie. Okay. And first party cookie is their own cookie. Okay. Name, host, duration. What is the duration of the cookie? Description of the cookie, right? So these are the first party cookies. One is 365 days, second is a few seconds, 365 days, yeah. And then Vimeo, a few seconds, yeah. So these are the cookie list for strictly necessary. Okay. So now if I do not have option to, if you see, I do not have option, it's always active, right? So what does this mean? This means that this is a legitimate use for the cookie. Okay. Then we have preference cookies. Okay. So preference cookies, what does preference cookies mean? Like when you come to websites, right, you generally have options to give preferences, right? Like, hey, like let's say you go to a shopping website, right, and you have some preferences in the past. Like preferences could also be like while showing you clothes, they are showing you clothes because the availability of your size is available, for example. One of the examples. So then because they already have a sizes, so like your M, so then they're showing you M size thing. Okay. Analytical cookies. Analytical cookies are generally the cookies that we all put on our websites, which are needed or followed by, no, can't see your example. Okay. Targeting the consumer behavior. Okay. Okay, somebody's also responded. Pratik has responded. The consent is the basis of processing when we comment on LinkedIn. Correct. That's the consent actually. The data that is being processed in LinkedIn right now is the basis for Indian DPDP as well as the global laws is that. But I have a question for you. Has anybody tried LinkedIn Premium? Anybody tried LinkedIn Premium? No? Yes? If you try LinkedIn Premium, then you actually then sign a contract with LinkedIn for the data set that for the basically the payment that you make. So the purpose of processing on which the payment has been made, the legal basis becomes the legitimate interest. But the consent, the data that is being processed still will be on the basis of consent. Very interesting, on how privacy works. But it's getting more complicated day by day because we already are mature globally. So we are getting a lot of mature, uh, you know, results globally that we are implementing around us. Okay. Analytical cookies. Coming back to our cookie thought process, Google Analytics, for example, right? What we do is we generally inject some things on the website, and by that we get to know how many people came on the website, what was their geographies, where like SEO, we do SEO on the back end of the website, search engine optimization. So everything gets added into analytics. That's how basically people judge websites are doing good, websites are doing bad. So let's see what they have here for preference as well as. Okay, so I'm gonna say yes. Say yes, say yes. Okay, let's see. First party cookies. Okay, we have analytical cookies, which are first party. So the cookie is associated with, yeah. So first party cookies, which are analytical cookies. In the analytical cookies, they're also using Google Universal Analytics actually. So what I mean by that is what they're doing is they're having Google cookies for analytics, Google Analytics. Yeah. And then we look at marketing cookies. In marketing, we have YouTube. Okay, interesting. I didn't know, by the way, that this is so. If you want to know about an organization's business or how they function, just read their privacy policy. Just read their cookie policy. You'll know a bit like how their marketing works. So if you're a marketing professional or understand your competition, great way to just read the cookies, isn't it? Like a lot of data is here. Yeah. So then we know what type of cookies are there for marketing, and we'll see functional cookies. Again, Vimeo, right? So these 729 days. Okay. So this is the notice that the website has. Let's take one more example, right? Let's take one more example. Which one should we take? Let's try Airbnb. Okay, so when I go to Airbnb, I wanted to start with cookies actually. So, yes. So this means that till here, either okay, that could also happen that my consent is already recorded. Let's try from an incognito tab. So what type of cookies they have? They have flash cookies, they have pixel tags, web beacons, and trackers. They have server logs and other technologies. The device information, they take third parties. And if you want to know, okay, so they also use Google Analytics, by the way. So if you can see here, their analytics or third party cookies majorly are by Google. Okay. And they're also giving you more options to come out by network advertising initiative opt out as well as other opt outs. And then you have Google Ads page. Then you can read more about it in Airbnb privacy policy. So what I'm saying is it's not that straightforward if you see, right? It's even for the biggest companies in the world, their privacy teams have spent a lot of time, a lot of time. If you can see, this takes a lot of time to build, and then giving these options on saying, hey, you can go to Google and you can switch off your turn off Google Ads, turn off for it. I've also switched it off. Learn something today. Okay. Sure. Let's move to privacy policy. So basically, privacy policy on the website is, I think last time also we discussed, should privacy policy be on the website, or what does Microsoft have? So Microsoft has privacy statement, Airbnb has privacy policy, somebody else has privacy notice, right? So these are names are different, but they are all catering to the principle of transparency under GDPR or any other law. So the principle of transparency gets catered by a statement or a policy. So the name doesn't matter. You can have anything on the website. Second thing is, and mostly you move on to human right of right to information or right to know or right to access also supports that. So supports the principle as well as supports the right to information. So human right as well as the principle of any law gets supported by this and gets done in the right fashion. So if you have any questions, please ask. We will take it up. Okay, now let's move on, right? Let's just log in. Let's go to consent now. We've seen cookie. So the moment I'm getting into the platform, right? The moment they are asking my number, right? What are they asking? We will call you or text you to confirm your number. Okay. Okay, this is the first type of notice that this is a verification. They're saying I'll verify you and I'll call you. Okay. Let's. Okay, you all can see my number, is it? Though I have already logged in, so probably just log in. Just give me a second. If you have any questions, folks, please ask. Please put it. Okay, let me show you one quick thing as well. I think this is something that in India will be needed more. So I'll just show you one quick thing. So if you look at contact us here, right? So I'm going to click contact us at the Saka website, right? And these are the numbers, right? But let's say I want to submit a ticket. So when I will submit a ticket, will I submit personal data? Yes, I will. Okay. So when I'm giving personal data, then they have to make sure that they're giving me consent. So let's see how it goes actually. Okay. So they gave me consent option, right? If you saw, they asked me if I want to log in, and then okay. So then I'm getting my option. Now, what did they give me? They actually gave me this privacy statement, if you remember, which is there on their website. And let's quickly read the privacy statement and see what type of data, my data that they are taking. Yeah. Okay. So they're telling about who they are, then they're telling about what does the notice covers. So basically, what does the notice have? Then they're talking about what type of personal data we collect, we disclose, we send ahead, we retain, your choices, your rights, your human rights, basically. Right? And then if let's say rights are different in different countries, similarly in this, probably if you are in India and you're an Indian DPO and listening to us, I think probably you would have also done this 11, 12, 13, 14. Maybe we'll add a 15 here because in India there are some changes that are there in the law in terms of, and we also are waiting for rules. So once the rules will be out, we may be needing a few more tweaks here. So it may also add like India. That's why EU, UK, others are different compared to the global standards. Okay. So basically, generally what happens is organizations, they follow a central policy framework, if as just like this, and then they have add-ons to the policies across the world. What does it mean? It means that a central, like anything even if you look at PIMS, right, Personal Information Management System, we follow the PIMS, and then as the laws change, we keep adding to those, right? Okay. Like addendums or procedures or control frameworks. You can call it anything, but end of day it is the requirements that are being mapped again to the overall process. Let me just quickly check if anybody has any questions. Okay, no questions. Okay. Sure. So changes to the notice, personal data we collect and how we use it. Okay. So basically, what did they do? They sign up page, right? We went to sign up page. That sign up page, they gave option. They told us where they're going to do, but still, these are the options on the website in which data collection can happen. So in all these options, they are giving the same privacy notice. See, ISACA is giving privacy notice. So in the same option, ISACA is giving six, like in this page or in this website, there are six options in which ISACA can do it. So you can just think about these things and then document in detail about consent, right? Because consent, taking consent is not just a yes and no. It's a whole journey. And right now, and obviously while we take our journey even down the line, we will only be able to talk about the link. We'll only be able to talk about the external type of the world, right? And external, by external we mean the external privacy policy, the external privacy notice. But it's difficult to talk about the internal data processing right now, right? It's very complex, because let's say somebody revokes consent, then what is going to happen? A trigger is going to go, right? A trigger will go to the data governance team or a similar team, so that they can from there pick it up and delete the data or edit the data, and then a confirmation has to come from that team. So I'm just saying, like a bit more complex, right? A bit more complex. Okay, so you want to apply for internship at Tsaaro. Hi, Shana. So for college interns, if you go to our website, right? If you actually, we are also at the end, guys. Today, I'm just gonna show you guys. If you want to apply, all the applications happen here, right? In careers page. So if you come to careers page here, you can just come here, and for college students, privacy and research and content intern is the thing. So if you want it there, you can come here. People who are experienced can apply at different places. Yeah. So people who are experienced can apply at different places for sure. Sure. So yeah. So thank you everyone for joining in, and thank you everyone for coming in. We are going to do this every week on Saturday at 11. So please see if you want to join, if you want to learn something, and we will have some good topics, some more practical discussions, because I see a lot of people doing indicative webinars, and at that point in time I want to do a bit more to show what is to be done and a bit more um, details. Yeah, and have a nice day everyone. So this is all from my side today. Have a nice day. Bye.